Hello, and welcome to Yogalates. My name's Amanda. For today's class, all you'll need is a block. You can also use a pillow, maybe a book, excuse me, something sturdy that you have. I will be using it to stand on to give ourselves a little bit more of a stability core challenge. We'll also use it for some ab work and some inner and outer thigh work. Let's get started with our warm-up. Starting on the floor on your mats and a child's pose, drawing your knees nice and wide, sinking your glutes towards your heels, stretching your fingertips out nice and long, maybe resting your chin or your forehead onto a block or a pillow, holding it here with your breaths, strong inhales, filling your belly through your nose, holding it there for 3, 2, and 1. Nice strong exhales through your mouth. Inhale through your nose. Filling all the way up. Strong exhale through your mouth. Really sinking your hips back each time. Stretching your fingertips nice and long. Inhale. And exhale. We're going to continue these breaths, except this time closing your mouth, exhaling through your nose. Still filling your lungs on the inhale. Exhale through your nose. 2 more times, just like this. Last one. After you exhale all the air out of your lungs, maybe tempt your fingers, lifting your forearms and the palms off of the floor, pressing your fingertips into the ground. Nice stretch all along your shoulders. Going to release your forearms back down. You can bend your elbows, bringing your palms to touch, bringing your thumbs to the nape of your neck for a nice tricep stretch. Maybe walking your elbows out an inch or 2, deepening that stretch along your triceps. And then extend your arms back out in front. Walk your hands over to the right side of your mat, placing your left palm on top of your right, pressing your left glute in toward your left heel for a stretch all along the left side body. If you'd like a deeper stretch, you can gently rotate your left shoulder down towards the floor. You can also release your right hand, wrap it around your back for a bind. Wherever you're at, hold it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release your right hand if you had it binded. Go ahead and walk your hands back through the center, over to the left side of your mat, placing your right hand on top of your left, still pressing your right glute in towards your right heel, lengthening that entire right side body. Option to rotate your right shoulder down towards the floor for a deeper stretch. You can also release your left hand from underneath your right, binding around your back, holding it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and release your left hand back to meet the right. Walk your hands back towards the center for one more stretch here in child's pose. Stretching your fingertips long out in front past the crown of your head, pressing your glutes in towards your heels, and then coming on up to tabletop position with your wrists directly under your shoulders, knees are under your hips. You can tuck your toes, bringing your gaze up towards the ceiling for cow, hammocking your belly down, gaze up towards the ceiling. Coming through, rounding your spine, scoop and arch your belly, flatten out your toes, gazing towards your navel or the tops of your thighs, pressing the earth away. Coming back through center, tuck your toes, gazing up towards the ceiling, hammocking your belly down. And then scoop and arch, relax your toes, bringing your gaze towards your navel, really pressing the floor away from you, stretching between your shoulder blades. One more time through each one. Tuck your toes, gaze towards the ceiling for cow. And relaxing your toes, scoop and arch for cat, rounding your spine. Go ahead and come back to a neutral spine, nice flat back. Maybe bumping your hips from side to side. You can also draw some circles with the hips, drawing the hips forward, down and around. Whatever feels good in your body today. And of course, whatever you do in one direction, just making sure you do it in the opposite direction as well. Finishing up here. From here, we're going to walk our hands towards our knees, coming into a kneeling stance. From here, bring your arms up overhead. We're going to cactus the arms, gazing up towards the ceiling, chest is forward. Really spread your fingertips nice and wide. Knees remain hip width apart and parallel. Arms come up, gaze comes forward. 2 more times. Elbows come down, cactus the arms, gaze up towards the ceiling. Arms come up. 1 more time. We're going to find our tabletop once again. Elbows come down, chest is lifted, gaze towards the ceiling. And then bring it back forward. Go ahead and walk your hands back out to a tabletop with your wrists directly under your shoulders, knees directly under your hips. First, we're going to start with our right hand, left leg. Extend them long in opposite directions. Go ahead and flex your left toes, keeping that left leg nice and straight, really stretching your right fingertips nice and long. Core is engaged, nice flat back. Hold it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Now tiny little pulses for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bring your right hand behind your back. You can also bring that right hand to the floor or elbow wide behind your head. We're going to keep the left toes flexed, bend the knee, bringing the knee to 90. We're going to press up for 10. That's 9. 8, hips stay parallel. 7. That's 6. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold that left leg lifted. Extend the left leg straight. Point the toes. Bring your right arm back out in front. Nice long arms. We're going to do a combination move here. Lower the right arm, left leg, and lift. Open out to the diagonal. Drop back in line. Bend, tap. Maybe they tap. Maybe they just come close. And extend. Keeping it going. Lower and lift. Open out to diagonal. Close back in line with the hip. Then tap. Extend. Keep it going. Lower and lift. Open out to the side and close. Then tap and extend. Lower and lift. Open and close. Then tap. Extend. 1 more here. Lower and lift. Open. Back in line. Then tap and extend. Hold the left leg lifted. Bring your right palm underneath your right shoulder. Go ahead and draw the left leg over to the outside of your right knee, looking over your right shoulder for a nice stretch. Hold it there for 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and bend the left knee, drop back in line, and draw in a few hip circles here with the left leg, and then reverse that direction. Gently place the left knee back to the floor. Maybe move the hips side to side. Now we have the other side. Left arm, right leg extends long. Straight right leg. Flex the right toes facing down towards the floor. Releasing your left arm out in front of you. Keep your core nice and engaged. Right hip is completely parallel to the left. Hold it there for 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Pulses for 10, 9, 8, straighter, 7, 6, 5, cores engaged, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Hold the right leg lifted. Option to bring your left hand behind your back or elbow wide. You can also set that left hand back underneath your left wrist. Wherever your left hand is, go ahead and bend your right knee to 90. Keep the right toes flexed. We're going to press up for 10. That's 9. 8 more. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Cores engaged. 2, and 1. Hold the right leg lifted. Extend it straight. Point the right toes. Draw your left arm back out in front, opposite direction. Combination move here. Lower left arm, right leg, and lift. Open out to diagonal. Close back in line. Bend, tap, and extend. Lower and lift. Open and close. Bend, tap, extend. 3 more. Keep it going. Lower and lift. Open and close. Bend, tap, extend. 2 more. Stay with me. Slow and controlled here. Your core is nice and engaged. Bend, tap, extend. 1 more. Lower and lift. Open and close. Bend, tap, extend. Go ahead and release your left hand to the floor. Keep that right leg lifted. Keep it nice and straight. Lower it over to the outside diagonal. That left knee looking over your left shoulder. Hold it there for 3, 2, and 1. Release that right knee back in line with the left, and then drawing a few hip circles with that right knee, reversing the direction. All right, good, and release that right knee down. We're going to go ahead and come on to, let's go ahead and come on to our back now. We're going to grab that block, grabbing that block, placing it between your feet, roll all the way back so you're laying flat on your back. You're in a reverse tabletop position, so your knees are bent at 90. Your knees are directly over your hips. So if your knees are closer towards your chest, that makes it more easy. If your legs are further away from your chest, feet further from the crown of your head, that makes it more challenging. Wherever your knee placement is, the most important thing is that you want your lower back pressed firmly into the floor. So your abs are engaged, your navel is pulled deep into your spine. If you'd like, you can always check by placing your hands on your hips. If you find that your hands are tilting away from you, away from the crown of your head, then your back is likely arching up, and you can probably feel space underneath your lower back. So you want to actively tilt your hips tilt your pinkies towards the crown of your head to keep that lower back pressed into the floor, keeping your abs nice and engaged. From here, keeping your hands to your hips, maybe cactus your arms, palms down by your side, elbows wide, whatever arm placement you choose today. You can always change it throughout class. Your neck is flat on the floor, gazing up towards the ceiling. Feet are relaxed, block between your feet. We're going to open and close the knees, working those inner and outer thighs here. Your knees do not have to touch. You also are opening your knees to the width that works for you. Maybe your hips are a little bit tighter and you can only bring them hip width apart. You can also draw them as wide as you'd like, making this move your own. Keeping in mind that your abs are engaged, so your navel is pulling deep into your spine. Imagine that you're trying to put on a pair of super skinny jeans and you're trying to button that up. That motion that you do, that's the engagement you want in your core the entire time you're doing any kind of core work. Laying on your back allows you to keep that in mind, keeping everything nice and engaged, using the floor as a splint along your spine, just opening and closing your knees. Just a few more here. That's it. 3 more. 2 more. Last one. Hold the knees and the feet hip-width apart and parallel with your knees actively over your hips. We're just going to extend and bend into those knees. So still with your feet holding that block. Of course, if the block becomes too cumbersome, if it falls or if it becomes a nuance, you can always set it off to the side. No problem at all. If you have that block off to the side, just keeping your feet hip-width apart, keeping it going, raise and lower. Core is nice and engaged here. Lower back pulled in towards your spine, pulled in towards the floor. That's it. 5 more. Extend and bend. 4 more. Extend and bend. 3 more. Knees stay directly over your hips. 2 more. All right. Maybe 1.5. We're going to hold the legs straight from here. Reach your fingertips towards the ceiling. We're going to reach up and lower, working in to those upper abs. So just think, the slower that you go trying to reach your fingertips towards the ceiling, I want you to actively go that same speed, that same slowness to release your shoulders back to the floor. That's it. Give me 10 more. 9 more. Stay with it. You've got this. If you're with me, you've got 7 more. Think slower, more controlled. And 6. You're halfway there with this move. That's it. 4 more. 3 more. Just 2 more. Stay with it. Fingertips towards the ceiling. 1 more. All right, go ahead and release your shoulders back down. Bring your hands back down from here, right back to where we started. Knees bend, knees extend. You're firing up those upper abs, and now we're working back into the tops of the thighs, working those quad muscles here, keeping it going. If you're still using that block, keep it between your feet. That's it. Of course, if it falls or it drops, you can always set it off to the side. Legs extend, knees bend, legs to the ceiling, feet to your knees. Keeping it going. Just a few more. Go ahead and hold the knees bent on the next one. Right back to it. Knees open, knees closed. From this position, you're really working those inner and outer thighs. So you want to not forget about your lower abs. Keep those abs nice and engaged. Your hips tucked under, so your hips tilting toward your shoulders, keeping your lower back pressed into the floor. Keep it going. Everything from your shoulders down to your glutes are pressed into the floor, actively keeping everything nice and tight. Knees open, knees closed. That's it. Just a few more here. All right, go ahead and hold your knees hip-width apart and parallel. We're going to bring the elbows wide behind the head. As we extend our legs up to the ceiling, we're going to crunch up, holding that crunch. So legs to the ceiling, crunch up, hold that crunch. Legs lower to a hover. The depth works for you. Knees bend. Relax your shoulders down. So crunch up, legs extend. Hold that crunch, legs lower to a hover. Knees bend to your hips as you draw your elbows down. Keeping it going. Lift everything. Hold it lifted. Lower the legs. Bend the knees. Now the depth that goes for you with your legs is totally up to you. The lower you go, the more challenging it is. But most important thing is that as you lower your legs, your lower back does not lift up whatsoever. It stays glued to that floor. So if you find that your lower back is lifting up, just don't lower your legs as far. That's perfectly fine. If you draw them to a 45-degree angle and then draw your knees back into your chest, that is perfectly fine too. Wherever you're at, give me 3 more. And by 3 more, I meant from that last one that we finished. So this is 3. Hold the crunch, legs lower, knees bend, shoulders lower. 2 more. Crunch and lift. Hold the crunch, legs lower, knees bend, release down. 1 more, stay with it. Crunch and lift, lower, knees bend. All right, go ahead and grab that block. Place it between your thighs. Go ahead and bring your feet hip width apart and parallel. Feet are flat on the floor. Palms down by your side. We have a glute bridge, raise and lower. So keeping your shoulders planted into the floor. We're not doing a full bridge or a wheel just yet. Glute bridge, raise and lower. So you want to actively squeeze your glutes. Lift your hips up towards the ceiling. Actively pressing your palms into the floor. Both shoulders pressed into the ground as well. Your neck is flat on the floor, gazing up towards the ceiling, keeping your neck at neutral spine. Imagine that your glutes are that sponge, and not just when you lift, but the entire time, the entirety of doing this workout, you want to squeeze your glutes, imagining that your glutes are that sponge, and you're squeezing out any excess water that you can get out of that sponge. Hips raise, glutes barely tap down, and lift back up. Squeezing the entire time. Give me 5 more. And 4, slow and controlled. That's 3. And 2. 1 more. Hold it at the top. We're going to hold it for 10. That's 9. You got 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Release your hips back down. Set that block off to the side. Keep it close by. Don't set it too far away. From here, we're going to just do a little stretch. Draw your knee in towards your shoulder, right knee in towards your right shoulder. Extend your left leg long. Circle out your ankles. Nice little mid-work stretch. Go ahead and release your right hand. With your left hand, grab the outside of your right knee, pulled across the left side of your body, looking over your right shoulder. Maybe cactus that right arm. Hold it there for 3, 2, and 1. Draw back in. Right knee towards your right shoulder still, drawing a few circles here. And then switch. Right leg long, left knee in towards your left shoulder, just grasping below your knee, maybe circling out your toes or your ankle, actively pressing both shoulders into the floor still. Release your left hand. With your right hand, grab the outside of your left knee, pull it across the right side of your body, looking over your left shoulder, maybe cactusing that left arm. You can also tee out that hand if you have the space, using whatever space you have around you. Keeping both shoulders on the floor, and then coming back to center, keeping that left knee in towards your left shoulder, maybe drawing a few circles here. All right, go ahead and grab that block again. Place it between your thighs. We're going to come back to our reverse tabletop. So your knees are bent at 90. Your ankles are the exact same height as your knees, and your knees are directly over your hips. Bringing your elbows wide behind your head. Back is nice and flat from here. We're going to draw the legs over to the side, bent knee windshield wipers. Back to the center, over to the other side. Do not focus on trying to tap your knees to the floor. Most important thing is that both of your shoulders are glued into the ground. You're rotating your hips from side to side. You're keeping your knees bent. You're keeping that block between your thighs. So as you're actively moving and rotating your hips, you're squeezing your thighs so you don't lose that block. You're actively pressing both shoulders firmly into the floor, gently rotating slowly from one side to the next, back to center, keeping it going. Everything is slow and controlled. Actively moving everything. Your feet are just relaxed. Over to the side, back to the center. Wherever you're at, let's do 3 more on each side. This is a nice oblique stretch as well. Over to the right, slow and controlled. Back to center, over to the left. Back to center, 2 more on each side. That's it. You want to actively keep your knees over your hips, over to the left. 1 more on each side. Back to the center, over to the left. Think slower, more controlled. And then back to the center. Go ahead and release that block off to the side. Still keeping it close by. From here, we're going to come back into our glute bridges with your feet hip-width apart and parallel. We're going to lift the hips up. From here, extend the right leg. Draw it up, knee to the chest. Draw it up, lower, and place it back down. Keeping your hips lifted the entire time. Left leg extends long. Raise, knee to the chest. Back to ceiling. And lower, plant the left foot. Extend the right leg to a hover, up to the ceiling, knee to the chest, bend, up to the ceiling, lower, place it back down, left leg extend long to a hover, up to the ceiling, bend the knee to the chest, back to the ceiling, low to a hover, flat to the floor. Keep it going, keeping your hips lifted the entire time. That's it. Up to the ceiling, knee to the chest, back to the ceiling, low to a hover, back down. Keeping it going. That's it. Leg to a hover, lift to the ceiling, knee to the chest, back to the ceiling. Keep the toes nice and pointed. Let's do 3 more on each side. Hips stay lifted. That's it. Just a few more. Keep forgetting that knee bend. That's okay. 2 more on each side. Hover to the ceiling. Knee to chest. Extend. Hover. Step back down. That's it. Stay with it. Slow and controlled. All right, we're going to add a pulse. Low to a hover. Pulse it for 3, 2, and 1. Up to the ceiling. Press lift for 3, 2, and 1. Knee to the chest. Back to the ceiling for 3, 2, and 1. Lower to a hover. 3, 2, and 1. Set that right foot down. Hips stay lifted. Stay with it. Left leg to a hover. Pulse it for 3, 2, and 1. Up to the ceiling. Press lift for 3, 2, and 1. Knee to the chest. Extend. Press lift for 3, 2, and 1. To the hover. Pulses for 3, 2, and 1. Set the left foot down. Release the hips down. Draw your knees into your chest. You can grab the back side of your thighs. You can also grab just below your knees, maybe rolling from side to side. You can also come into happy baby, grabbing the inside or outside of your feet, grabbing the outside of your thighs, maybe rolling from side to side here. We're going to rock and roll ourselves a few times. So, option 1 is to hold your knees bent. Option 2, you can extend your legs straight. So, rocking and rolling yourselves, getting that momentum. Once you get there, we're going to try to find that C-sit. You can also grab the back side of your thighs. We're going to try to hold that C-sit. So whether your legs are straight or you have that bend in your knees, find that placement. Find your breath. Hold it for 10. That's 9. You've got 8, 7, 6, 5, 4 more. That's 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and cross your ankles. We're going to come on over to a high plank. You can't do yoga or Pilates without doing a high plank. So go ahead and find your high plank. Extend your legs straight back. You can also, of course, always work from a tabletop with your knees directly under your hips as well. Your wrists are directly under your shoulders, whether you're in that tabletop or that high plank. We're going to extend the right leg, draw the right knee to the right elbow, lower down to the wrist, over to the left wrist, up to the elbow, back to the right, step it back. Left leg lifts, left knee to left elbow, down to the wrist, over to the right wrist, up to the elbow, back over to the elbow, kick it back. Keep it going. Even if you're in a tabletop, kick that leg back, knee to the elbow, down to the wrist, opposite wrist, up to the elbow, same elbow, step it back down. Left side, extend it straight back, left knee to left elbow, down to the wrist, over to the right wrist, up to the right elbow, back to center, kick it back. Give me one more time through on each side. Right knee to right elbow, down to the wrist, over to the left wrist, up, over, straight back. One more on the left side. Left knee to left elbow, wrist, right elbow, back to center, step it back. Gently bring your knees down, come all the way down, elbows stay tucked in. From here, just do a nice mini cobra. Release down. One more mini cobra. Elbows stay close in. Maybe lift your palms off of the floor. Releasing back down. From here, walk your hands underneath your rib cage. Pressing up for full cobra. Look, gazing up towards the ceiling. You can look over your left shoulder. Back to the ceiling. Over your right shoulder. Back to the ceiling. Back to center. From here, tuck your toes or come through tabletop, pressing up to down dog. Biceps framing your ears, maybe pedaling your heels, one at a time. All right. From this position, go ahead and have a micro bend both of your knees. We're going to walk your hands back to your feet. Coming to a forward fold. You can bring your hands to the floor or to that block. Coming to a half lift. Crown of your head, hands to your shins or your thighs. Back to a forward fold. Relax your head. You can grab opposite elbow, the micro bend, swaying from one side to the next. All right, release your hands back down to the floor. Gently roll up slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Roll your shoulders back. And forward. All right, we're going to grab that block. So option here, you can always go without a block if you would like, or you can use that block to bring more of a challenge, more core stability. I'm going to face this direction so I don't have enough space to kick behind me. We're going to do a lot of combination moves here. So starting with grounding through your left leg, we're going to stand on that block. Of course, you don't have to stand on the block. You can stand on the floor. Your feet are hip width apart and parallel if you're not using that block. You're using that block, go and straighten the left leg. Draw your arms up to the ceiling. We're going to come to standing single leg mountain. Draw that right knee in towards your right hip. Flex your right toes. From here, open up that right leg from the hip. Cactus the arms. Keep the fingertips spread wide. Gaze remains forward. Draw your knee forward. Arms come up. One more time. Elbows are wide. Chest is lifted. Right leg out to the side. Draw everything back in line. Arms stay lifted. We're going to extend and bend the knee 3 times. That's 3. Knee stays high. That's 2. Once more. Go ahead and hold that right leg lifted. Pulse it for 3, 2, and 1. Now here we're going to bend that right knee back. You can bring your hands to the floor, to the block, or you can also hover, kicking through to warrior 3. You can keep your arm extended out in front. You can tee out your arms in airplane arms or bring your hands back, pinkies in for bird. From here, you want to hinge forward. That right leg is straight back. Your right toes are flexed down from the floor. We're going to pulse it for 5. That's 4. Micro bend that left knee for 3, 2, and 1. We're going to go through 2 more times. Right knee comes up, arms up overhead. Keep the right toes flexed. We're going to open, cactus the arms. Draw everything back in line. Open and cactus the arms. Everything back in line. Arms stay lifted. Extend for 3. Cores engaged. That's 2. We're going to hold it in 3. Pulse it for 3, 2, and 1. Keep that right knee lifted. Bend the right knee. Hinge forward. Arms of your choice. Maybe change up the arms. Right leg is straight back. Micro bend that left knee. Right toes flex down. Pulse it for 5. That's 4, 3, 2, and 1. One more time through. Make it stronger. We're going to go a little bit faster. Right knee out to the side. Cactus the arms. Arms come up. Cactus the arms. Draw the leg forward. Extend for 3. That's 2. Hold it in 3. Pulse it for 3, 2, and 1. Bend the right knee. Hinge forward. Warrior 3 or bird. Pulse it for 5, 4, 3, 2, whoop, and 1. Release that right foot down. All right, maybe shake it out. Of course, if you always come out of any move, it's okay. It happens to all of us. Just come back into it. Find your breath. If you're using that block again, you want to ground through that right leg, the left leg. No, you want to ground through that right leg. We're going to work the left leg this time. We don't want to do 2 legs at once. All right, either right foot on the block, our feet are hip width apart and parallel. Go ahead and draw your arms out to the ceiling. Draw that left knee towards your hip. Left toe is flexed. Relax your shoulders down from your ears. Micro bend that standing right knee. From here, cactus the arms. You draw the leg out to the side. Draw it back in one more time. Draw the elbows nice and wide. Fingertips are wide. Left knee out from the left hip. Draw everything back in line. Arms stay lifted. Keep the left toes flexed. Extend it for 3. That's 2. Last one. Hold it straight. Keep the left toes flexed. Pulse it for 3, 2, and 1. Bend that left knee. We're going to hinge forward. Find your balance. Maybe placing your hands on another block. You can keep your arms out in front for warrior 3. You can bring your arms out to a T, airplane arms, or bird arms. Arms and pinkies are in towards your body. That left hip is directly in line with your right. Left leg is straight. Left toes are flexed down. Pulse it for 5. That's 4. You got 3, 2, and 1. 2 more times through. You got this. Left knee lifted. Arms come up. Cactus the arm with it out to the side. Draw everything back in. Whoop. If you got the wobbles, that's okay. Cactus the arms. Left leg out to the side. Draw everything back in line. Extend it for 3. That's 2. Hold it straight. Pulse it for 3, 2, and 1. Bend the left knee. Hinge forward. Pulse it for 5. That's 4, 3, 2 more. Last one. Draw it up. Left knee is lifted. Open the arms, open the hip. Draw everything back in line. Open, back in line. Extend and bend. Extend and bend. Hold it extended. Lift it for 3, 2, and 1. Bend the left knee. Hinge forward. Pulse it out for 5. That's 4. 3 more. 2, and 1. Release that left leg down. Maybe shake it out. All right. Because we're in our fun, nimble, balancing stage, let's continue. Hold that left leg grounded. Go ahead and open up your right hip. We're going to bring the sole of the right foot to the inside of your left ankle, maybe the inside of your left calf. If you would like, you can draw it all the way up. Whatever you do, avoid that left kneecap. From here, bring your hands to heart center, holding and breathing wherever you are. Option to grow your branches. You can sway your arms, challenging your balance, maybe gazing up towards the ceiling, maybe closing one eye or the other, maybe both. Wherever you're at, hold it there for 3, 2, and 1. Go ahead and draw your hands back to heart center. Release your right leg. Ground through your standing right leg. Same thing here. Bringing the sole of your left foot to the inside of your right ankle. Maybe the inside of your right calf. If you'd like, you can also draw to the inside of your right thigh. Wherever you place that left foot, making sure to avoid your kneecap at all costs. Bringing your hands to heart center. Relax your shoulders down from your ears. If you got the weebles and wobbles, that's all right. Focus on your breathing. Maybe one side's different than the other. You can grow your branches. Maybe sway your tree. You can also come into cow face arms. Your fingertips do not have to touch. Opening up your shoulders here. Maybe switching sides. Wherever you're at, hold it for 3, 2, and 1. Bring your hands back to heart center. Go ahead and come back out of it. Maybe release your feet down. We're going to go ahead and find our tabletop back on the floor. Wrists under your shoulders, knees are under your hips. Tuck your toes. Bring your hands a palm print forward. Lift your hips up towards the ceiling, coming back to our down dog. Pulling your navel into your spine, really pressing your hips up. Biceps are framing your ears. From here, go and extend your right leg up towards the ceiling, three-legged dog. Bend your right knee, opening up your hips, stacking your knees. From here, go and draw your right knee in towards your right wrist. Extend your left leg long. If this hurts you or is uncomfortable, you can also roll onto your back, drawing your right knee in towards your right chest. You can walk your hands back to the center line of your body, lifting up. You can also walk your hands down for a deeper stretch. Maybe rolling your hips from side to side. Go ahead and press your hands back into the floor. Tuck your left toes and lifting your hips back up, coming to three-legged dog. You can stack your hips. You can flip your dog and extend your right arm forward, keeping your hips lifted. If your dog is flipped, go ahead and flip it back over. Both feet on the floor, maybe pedaling your heels. From here, both heels into the floor, biceps frame your ears. Lift your left leg up to the ceiling, bend your left knee, opening up your left hip, and then drawing your left knee to the inside of your left wrist, drawing your right leg back. And of course, you can also do this from laying on your back and drawing your right knee in towards your right shoulder. Walk your hands back to the center line of your body,
Chest is lifted, gazing up towards the ceiling. And then walk your arms out in front. Maybe rolling from side to side, doing whatever feels good to you. Maybe one side feels different than the other, so maybe try different things. Never be discouraged if one side you can do something, the other you cannot. You will get there, I promise. Go ahead and press your hands back into the floor. Tuck your right toes. Lift your hips up, coming back to three-legged dog, maybe stacking your hip or flipping your dog. Extend your left arm out in the opposite direction. And then coming back, flipping back over, pedaling your heels once more. Go ahead and walk your hands and your feet to the center of your space. From here, having a forward fold, generous fold. Neck is nice and relaxed. Coming to a halfway lift, hands to shins, crown of your head away from your body. Back to our forward fold. And then with the micro bend in both of your knees, gently roll up slowly, one vertebrae at a time. Roll your shoulder blades back. Roll them forward. From a standing position, feet are wider than your hips. We're just going to do a few goddess pose here. Go and draw your arms out to a T, or out to an X rather. We're going to bend the knees, bend the elbows, chest is lifted, pressing back up. That's it. 3 more here. This is where you finish. 2 more. Bend the knees, bend the elbows. Last one. Hold it here. Close and open the arms for 5. That's 4. You got 3. 2. Last one. All right, draw it back up. Go and release your arms down. Fantastic work. Thank you all so very much for sharing your practice with me today. Again, my name's Amanda. Have a fantastic rest of your day. See you all soon.